Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that shaped how they see life, offering you daily reminders that wisdom can be found in the most unexpected places. Today's guest is Tracey Napier, an intuitive life coach and author who's turned what she once saw as her greatest limitation, a speaking voice affected by cleft palate, into her greatest gift for helping others embrace their own potential. Let's step into Tracey's world and hear the words that have guided her journey of transformation. Tell us your name and your favorite quote.
My favorite quote is no matter what you think is wrong with you, it doesn't have to hold you back.
Okay. When did you come to this realization of this quote?
Well, I came up with that quote
Wow.
because I held myself back for so long because I thought because of my voice, I have a unique speaking voice, and I always thought it held me back. And I realized that it really wasn't my voice that was holding me back. It was my thoughts and beliefs about it that held me back. And so I just thought, no matter what you think is wrong with you, it doesn't have to hold you back, regardless of what it is.
Wow. Wow.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely shifted my perspective.
Yeah. Now you gave us what led to the quote. Now, can you still remember how far along was this in maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Like what was the time?
This was probably about 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not that long ago. 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay, but all the experiences you've had so far led you to the point where you came to that realization.
Yeah, I had held myself back for so long without really even realizing it. And, I was miserable in my job, and then my mom passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
And yeah, thank you. That was in 2018. And I just started going on this spiritual journey and learning about me. Like, who was I? What do I want in life? And it just took me down this path of learning my limiting beliefs and becoming more self-aware and just on this spiritual journey. And with that, I realized how much I let my voice hold me back. No.
Oh,
And I don't have to do that anymore.
yeah, yeah. So, how's how's how do I put it now? There was you okay. This quote is a boundary. It signifies a change of a new you. So, what I wanted us to do is a before and after, right? Now you've described what you
Mhm.
what you felt like, how you approached life when before you came to this realization. Now, I want to, how do you approach life now that you've come to the realization that no matter what you might think is wrong with you, you shouldn't let that hold you back. How's your life changed?
Yeah, I have become much more comfortable getting out of my comfort zone. And so for me, getting out of my comfort zone looks like actually talking to people because I was so quiet because I was really insecure about my voice. And so now I am networking, I'm going on podcasts, I'm using my voice in various ways, including writing a book. I wrote a book. Even though that wasn't my speaking voice, I am heard in a different way. And so it's a shift in perspective, and I it was a challenge to myself, really, to get out of my comfort zone and not be afraid to talk to people and live life. I was in such a bubble, and now I'm getting out and talking to people and creating a life that is much more joyful for me.
Yeah, you mentioned that you wrote a book, and I'm curious to know, and I know my listeners are also curious. What's the name of the book, and what's the book about?
It's called Get Changed: How to Become the Master of Your Own Life. And it's 7 steps to master your life. And so when I was going through this spiritual journey, it was in December 2022, and I was laid off from my job. They downsized, and I spent more time doing my
Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join, or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
personal growth and spiritual practices, and I became psychic. And I was guided to write this book. And my guides actually gave me the title of that book. And I thought, oh my goodness, I am unemployed. I am still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And you want me to write a book on mastering life? But I realized that the book was just as much for me as it was for the reader. And it
Yeah.
takes you on a journey of discovery, and it walks you through how to really step into your power and create a life that you want to live. And so it was a good challenge for me to learn how to do that. So I learned as I was writing the book.
Yeah. When you filled the form, you talked about you wanted the listeners to walk away with a different perspective on the challenges and some of the problems they might have, and see them as opportunities for growth. One of the things I've noticed is that I know we might be going problem. I think there's this quote I saw that our by shining our light, we give others permission to shine theirs.
Yeah, I'm sorry, by shining our light, what? I missed that.
Okay, by shining our light, we give others permission to shine theirs.
Mhm.
And what I'm saying is now is by
Yeah,
accepting and using seeing your what seemed to be a challenge before to be an opportunity. Other persons who peradventure have similar challenge or problem, whatever it might be, like you, they then see you and say, "Wow, she can do it. I too can do it," without you even saying anything.
yeah. Yes, everyone has the power to create the life that they want and overcome whatever perceived challenges they have. Now, you can let them hold you back, like
Hello.
I did for many, many years, or are you gonna just say, you know what, this is me. This is You have to embrace your entire being. You have to embrace who you are, and move forward anyway. Because if you don't, you're not gonna live the fulfilling life that we all want. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's really important to really face our fears and our challenges and insecurities, really. For me, I'll speak for myself. I was incredibly insecure. And, I have my moments, of course, we all do now, but I am much more comfortable
Hello.
in my own skin. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
But I was just saying that, we have to just embrace who we are and move forward anyway. Otherwise, we're not going to live that fulfilling life that we all want.
Yeah. 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 Honestly, like I know the over here in Nigeria, because I'm calling from Nigeria. I don't know. Probably I must have told you earlier on in the meet and greet. There are some
Okay.
actors, right? W- I don't know if you know this guy that acted Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones.
I am not familiar with them now.
Okay, okay. But usually it's
I don't like that.
no, it's the kind of people they call the dwarfs. So he he said at a point in time he felt depressed because he was being mocked at and everything, and later on when he started acting. And for me it was the fact that he um overcoming the challenge despite what he might consider. Okay, I'm not tall, I'm short, I'm this and all that. He By being someone out there, a lot of persons who would see him, they would they would say, wow, this guy too, he's not, he's like me, and he's doing these things and he's doing this thing. Like, even without him preaching or saying any of those things, the job, by the fact that he's putting himself out there and he's doing well, and he's living to his dreams, and you know get stuff done, other persons just see him and they get motivated.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we all have the ability to not only empower and inspire ourselves, but others as well,
Yeah.
just by the tiny little actions. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the question I usually ask every guest that comes on my podcast to share their favorite quote is, what are some of the misunderstandings people could have regarding this quote? Misinterpretations.
Understanding that they have around this quote that they
Yeah.
could have.
Yeah. What are some ways people could possibly misinterpret the quote?
Um, Possibly, I don't know. No matter what you think is wrong with you, maybe some people don't think there's anything wrong with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
um, uh,
Okay, okay.
I,
Let me rephrase the question so
I'm not
it's
sure.
easier for you to answer. So far, you've been sharing this quote,
Okay.
right? Over the course of 5 years, has anybody ever misinterpreted the quote, or kind of like say what the quote wasn't, what the quote wasn't, and ever since?
No, I mean, it's not something I just go around saying. It's really more of a quote that I tell myself.
Okay.
And I have it on my website on my speaking page. But it's not, yeah, I mean, to my knowledge, I haven't had anyone misunderstand it. At least nobody has told me that.
Yeah. Okay. So, but you did say one earlier on when I first asked the question, which was most people don't even think that something's wrong with them. So what does it mean?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Go
what
ahead. I'm
what
sorry.
what do you mean in the context of this quote? What do you mean when you say something is wrong? Like, no matter what is wrong with you, what do you what's the meaning of that in this context?
I would say anything physically wrong with, what you think is wrong with you. So if you think, for example, oh, I'm overweight and so I can't do this or I can't do that or I don't want to do this because, I don't look good in this outfit or I have a hard time getting up off the ground, which are very practical problems. And so oftentimes, especially women, I primarily work with women, and I think a lot of us internalize our physical challenges, and we believe it makes us defective in some way. Um, and so, any kind of physical challenge that you might be dealing with, maybe you have a speech impediment like I do, or maybe you have some symptoms from a disease that are challenging for you. And maybe you think, if only I didn't have this, if only I wasn't hard of hearing, if only I wasn't overweight, then I could be more confident and pursue my dreams. So I think that's really the context is more of the physical challenges that we might face. Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Okay. So
mhm.
I understand it clearly. So the next question I want to ask now is, because so far the examples you mentioned to explain what you meant by no matter what's wrong with you, physical things, like maybe someone can't be hard of hearing, or maybe someone possibly, maybe they are visually impaired or something like that. What about if someone doesn't have any of those physical examples, stuff like that. Let's say they're okay physically, right? And does this quote still apply?
Yeah, I mean, I think nearly all of us have something that could create challenges in our lives. And so if you which is good, if you don't see your challenges as challenges, that's even better. And if you don't think it applies to you, that's excellent because you've reframed your perspective about whatever it is that might be challenging you. But most of us have something, some may be more challenging than others, but if it doesn't, if you don't have a physical challenge, then I don't know, I mean, it could still apply. If you have like a mindset, maybe you feel like I'm not able to, or I'll never be rich because I'm not in that crowd, or I'm not the right type of person or something. So you can internalize that if there's something wrong with me because I don't fit into that crowd or something. That could be, just mentally as well, a mental mindset. Um, so,
Yeah. Thank you so much for clarifying that. And yeah, yeah. How do you okay, okay. Uh
yeah.
well, well, okay, let me take my time to ask the question. No matter what is wrong with you, don't let that hold you back. Well, no matter what's wrong with you, it doesn't have to hold you back. Okay, 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 okay. Now for
Yeah,
me,
I think the key word is think. So no matter what you think is wrong with you, and that's where the mindset shift comes in. So if you think there's something wrong with you, then it's a matter of changing that because there's nothing really wrong with any of us. We are, in my opinion, we're perfect just where we are. And so it's a matter of changing your mindset and know that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with any of us. So the key word is, or words is think. Mhm. Yeah. It doesn't lessen the challenge that we face, the challenges that we face, but there's nothing, inherently wrong with us. We are, naturally perfect the way we are, in my opinion.
if now I want us to do something a little bit different now. If you had to like kind of like adapt or reinterpret this quote, what would you say? Kind of like do a volume two or version two, revised edition of this quote.
If I were to revise this quote, what would I say?
Yeah, yeah. Or it's just perfect the way it is.
Well, I mean, it's perfect for me the way it is. But yeah, let's see here. You know, yeah, I don't know. You wanna know what you think is wrong with you? Yeah, maybe you don't
Okay.
have to let
Okay,
anything hold you down.
let me adjust the question. Over the course of the 5 years you've been using this quote, has there been an instance where, depending on the peculiarity of the case or the circumstances, you had to like adapt the quote, to like fit that circumstance?
I have not. No. 'Cause I feel
Okay,
like,
so
at least for me, it's a good reminder that I am perfect the way I am, and I have challenges, yes, like most of us do, but I don't have to let them hold me back. It doesn't make it less challenging, but it's really just shifting the mindset, and so, yeah, I haven't had to adjust the quote.
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. I
Mhm.
feel that this is really such a it's kind of it's a blessing for you to come on the podcast and share your story. And I know that you would inspire a lot of my listeners that are listening to this podcast. So before I release the podcast, I will prepare a very special and a very special intro for you when I'm doing the editing. And when if the podcast comes out and you listen to it, you you might even be shocked and start asking, "Are you sure this guy is me? This guy is introducing or someone else?" Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. If you what's one word, one advice you want to give to my listener, someone listening out there right now?
I would say that, like I said already, is live life to the fullest. Whatever you perceive is wrong with you, I'm not saying that whatever you're going through isn't challenging because, most of the time challenges, but move forward despite that. Shift your mindset and try to find the philosophy in it and move forward and live the life that you want and don't let anything hold you back.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Just to follow up on that, if even if the situation, the circumstances, the challenge or the problem, if you agree that that problem was designed to hold you back, and what would happen if you decide to get held down is the problem will benefit, but if you decide to move on, you get to benefit. So the only way you do things in your favor is when you move on despite the circumstances. Thank you so much for that.
Yes. Thank you
Where
for
can
having
where
me.
Yeah, where can listeners learn more and connect? Yeah, just tell us what you do, and where listeners can learn more about you. And yeah,
Yeah. I'm an intuitive life coach and a speaker and an author, and the best way to connect with me is on my website at traceynapier.com, and I have links to all my socials on there as well.
could you spell out the website? Just
Yeah,
I
it's
noticed that the spelling is different from traditional spelling. So
sure,
yeah,
yeah, TRACEYNAPIER.com.
okay, thank you for that.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, thank you
okay.
for having
You
me.
yeah, you can also connect with her on socials, LinkedIn, Tracy Napier, and yeah. You've been listening to Relatable Wisdom, and I've been your host, Wisdom Okonkwo. You've been listening to the podcast where every story, quote, and insight helps you see life a little differently. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show on your favorite podcast app and share it with someone who loved the conversation. For more inspiring voices and timeless wisdom, visit relatablewisdom.com. Until next time, keep living, learning, and collecting wisdom that matters most to you.